Hello, my name's Robin Tamanaha. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. So today I thought I would just do a quick video on 3 books about bipolar disorder that I recommend. This will be probably a part 1 because I read a ton of books, as you can see behind me. That's not even all the books I own. So there will be more videos on this, but I thought I'd start with these 3 because these are ones I tend to bring up a lot just in general with either clients or just people that I know like personally or that I meet that ask about book recommendations. So the first one is a fun one. It's called Rocksteady by Ellen Forney. Ellen Forney is a cartoonist who lives with bipolar disorder. So this is it's a self-help but in the form of cartoons because she's a cartoonist. So all of the pages are drawings, and she goes through the symptoms of bipolar disorder, the different types of treatments, coping skills, medication stuff, pretty much everything. This is a book that's helpful for anyone, whether it's someone living with bipolar disorder or if you know someone that's living with bipolar disorder. This is just a really good guide to have because everything is in the form of visuals and drawings. I think it makes a diagnosis that's really complicated and can seem kind of confusing a lot more understandable just based on the visuals alone. Sometimes that helps. I'm a visual learner. If you are as well, this may be something that would be super helpful. So that is one, Rocksteady by Ellen Forney. The next book, this would be if you are the partner of someone living with bipolar disorder. So it's called Loving Someone with Bipolar Disorder by Julie Fast and John Preston, who's a psychologist. Julie Fast is someone who lives with bipolar 2. So she worked with a psychologist to create this really good book on just if you have a partner living with bipolar disorder, not just the factual stuff and like the symptoms and kind of what everything means and what it looks like, but really working with the partner to create like a good plan on how they show their symptoms. Because with bipolar disorder, there's symptoms, but someone can experience them and express the same symptom differently. So this book is helpful because it allows the partner to kind of get an idea of how to form like a plan on how someone will show their symptoms, and also some really good practices for communication, whether it's a partner or a family member or a friend. Like when it comes to the communication piece, especially when they're in an episode, just how things are discussed and talked about and responded is huge. And this book also talks about just daily life stuff with the partner, which can be especially helpful if like you live with them or like share bank accounts and stuff like that. There is a chapter on finances and kind of what to do in that sense. There's also like intimacy, a chapter on that. So overall, this is a really good, handy book to have if you are a partner with someone who is living with a disorder. The third one is called Under My Helmet by Keith O'Neill. If you are a football fan, then you may recognize the name. He was a former NFL player. And so this book is his story. And since this book has come out, he's become an advocate for mental health, which is great. He really turned something that was a struggle into something that's super, super positive for him. And like many others, he wasn't diagnosed till later in life. It got missed a lot, just who his providers were and therapists. It was missing, and he started to experience the symptoms a long time ago. So that could be a factor too, and just how much was known at the time. But either way, he was finally diagnosed later in life, and he talks about just how it posed some challenges in his career, but also how some life events kind of influence the budding of some episodes. And for bipolar disorder, that is one piece. It's very complex and how everything comes together to form the diagnosis, but also he kind of shares his timeline, which is so important. And us as therapists, that treat bipolar disorder, that's what we look at. We look at the overall timeline and when symptoms were experienced and expressed and what happened before that and during. So he is very, very real and upfront and very forthcoming and honest, which I think takes a lot of bravery to be vulnerable like that. And he shares his story up until when this book was published and where he was at, which was now pretty much being an advocate for those living with bipolar disorder and mental health and stuff. So these 3 books are pretty much my main go-tos. Like I have others which I'll create videos on as well, but these are kind of my top 3 right now. And I will say too, if you are really, really interested in book recommendations, I do have a podcast. It's called Books Between Sessions, where I talk not only about books about bipolar disorder, but just overall mental health, depression, anxiety, ADHD, anxiety. And lately, especially since the pandemic has begun, since like April, each month I've had an author on who has written a book about mental health or mental illness, and I interview them and we talk about what their experience was and what led them to the book and what the book is all about, in case you would like to read it. So hopefully this video was informative or helpful. So thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.